Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be the Lizardmen led by eBanker facing off against the forces of Chaos, who are going to be helmed by a Keen Archaon versus a Banana Toad, if I'm not mistaken. Let's get this party started. Now for the Dino army here in the bushes, it is going to be a pretty small army because there is a big scary Dread Saurian, and it's not any old Dread Saurian, baby. It's going to be the Shredder of Lustria, and honestly, this thing's not terrible in domination mode. On a map like this, in which the objectives are pretty close together, they can bounce between the 2 points effectively. You know, big monsters certainly can be more effective, and they are going to be backed up by a Slant of Life. And if you're investing this much money in a big monster, it could potentially go down against Chaos. Marauder Horseman throwing axes, characters like Archaon, Severed Claw, you know, halberding this bad boy down. So you want to have some healing to make sure you really get your bang for your buck on this. So we got Skin Cohort, Saurus Warriors, very standard stuff. And in the back, we do have some Power Fist, Croxagores. It is going to be the cohort of Waddle. And these guys pack a pretty serious punch. They can definitely, you know, get through Chaos Warriors, take down Armored Trolls. And yeah, they do have Perfect Vigor as well, which is pretty rad, as well as Primal Instincts. Now, looking at the Forces of Chaos, pretty interesting little army here. It is going to be the Lord of the End Times. Is he going to be on foot? No way. Okay, no, he's going to be on Dorkar. From a distance there, it kind of looked like it. But he's rocking all the war gear today, baby. Got the Armor of Morcar to give him some melee defense, and Slayer of Kings as well. Very cool stuff. Typically, you just see Slayer of Kings because it's a huge damage buff, and if somebody's character gets caught out of position, Archaon could be rocking close to 1,000 weapon strength. The armor you don't see too much. Let's actually look at this and see what it does. So yeah, it gives you melee defense and gives you charge reflection while active. I mean, if it were like an aura that were constant, it would be very good. But in this case, you know, those activated items like that, unless they're super impactful, like Slayer of Kings, typically aren't the best. So it is going to be Chaos Warriors, Severed Claw, very good choice. Croxagores are very, very meta. One of the big, I would say, meta styles of Lizardmen is really just Mass Saurus with a Life Slant and then backed up by Croxagore spam. Maybe mix in some Salamanders as needed, some Ancient Salamanders, but having these Severed Claw saturated into your front line with your troopers and giving you that anti-large is super nice. And they honestly don't do terribly against like Saurus and other dinos and things like that. Big Soul of Damnation to the backfield here. This is kind of cool. Now, this would have been an interesting tech against like a Mass Saurus build. It's still not going to be terrible. And you, strangely enough, can use Soul of Damnation to like shoot at big monsters. But I suspect it's going to be shooting at Saurus. I mean, going after the Dread Saurian is such a tall order. If you do bring it down effectively, yeah, you're going to be super far ahead. But if that thing kind of keeps slipping away from you and cackling and you can't quite get the kill, it feels pretty damn bad. So army's moving. Looks like Chaos is going to be sending some Chaos Warriors up to the high ground here on objective number 1 to take control of that. Lizardmen aren't going to be playing the high ground, it doesn't look like. Rather, we are going to be seeing some play on objective 3 and 2 here in the middle. So we'll do some fast forwarding while the armies posture up. And now the Hell Cannon shooting into Saurus Warriors, which is what you'd want to be doing with it. Taking down the good quality infantry to make the Shredder of Lustria be unsupported and get rid of the capture weight that your opponent is bringing to bear on the battlefield. Excuse me. So fighting about to start on the objective, going to be some heavy pit fighting for sure. Blizzard's going to be pretty numerical. Yeah, I would say a big numerical advantage here. These are Chaos Warriors and Severed Claw, and the Chaos Army is actually relatively small, also because they brought Archaon with his full kit, which is like probably close to 3,000, give or take. Hell Cannon shot going down to the Saurus Warriors. Chaos Warriors will outtrade Saurus just barely. It's a bit of an evenish fight, but I believe a Chaos Warrior unit at 750 will beat a standard Saurus Warrior unit. And Severed Claw is able to find its way into a good fight on top of the cohort of Waddle. So we'll see if the cohort's going to be moving away. Obviously, eBanker doesn't want that fight there and is going to be doing a big dive into the Chaos backfield. Wow. So kind of circumventing the defensive Chaos position here, taking a lot of mass back here and Horned Ones. Oh, that's some stopping power right there. So we do see the retreat of the Horse Masters, definitely going to want to run away from the Horny Boys. And a call into Marauders. Marauders will, oh no, Zangors. Interesting, so using a Mark of Chaos for Zangors. Looks like there's going to be some Banana Toad action here. That's going to be a big old banishment. Pretty cost-effective one, actually. Really tearing through the Chaos lines, doing a little bit of friendly fire damage, but also getting on the Chaos Warriors. Now in the backfield, we do see the Horned Ones get on top of the Soul of Damnation. That's got to feel pretty bad. Zangors are not an excellent peeling unit. Archaon's probably going to want to get back here and maybe help clear these out because, man, losing this expensive artillery this early is going to be an absolute disaster. Mirror Guard called out of reserve from the Dark Gods, and they are going to be screening out the Saurus Warriors. Mirror Guard are a pretty good choice in this matchup because of the fact that they are immune to psychology, and they look super cool also. Severed Claw still fighting tooth and nail in the pits. Chaos trying to hold it down. We did have a Burning Head from Chaos just a moment ago, which did some very topical damage against the Skanks, nothing too serious. And yeah, that back pressure is still going. Will the Soul of Damnation survive? It's being attacked super heavily by those Horned Ones. And Zangors, like I said, don't have the best armor piercing, so they're going to have problems. And it looks like the Soul of Damnation is pretty much going to be offline. I don't think it even has enough crew members left to crew it. We'll have to keep tabs on that. But nonetheless, a very, very good start here from the Dino, shutting down the Soul of Damnation. Granted, Chaos does have a little bit of a value lead, but you have to remember that the old Lizards do have a ton of healing, and if the Lizards just play carefully, they should be in a commanding position right now. Like, pulling back this Toad, I don't know what this Battletoad's doing. He's getting a little bit crunk right here for sure. As far as the objectives go, Lizardmen do flip the objectives on the low ground, so they now have both and are pretty secure on the points game. They're not too far behind. But yeah, pulling back with the Shredder of Lustria, defending your objectives, not overextending into Chaos territory is going to be essential now here in this game. Shield of the Old Ones going down, nice stuff, going to be giving the Shredder 20% ward save, but the Halberds are doing really good. Certainly a bit of a blunder here, fighting by the Severed Claw and letting these Crocsagors get pounded. The Crocsagors and the Shredder of Lustria should 100% just pull back, stand on top of the Skink Cohort here as well as the Saurus over on Objective 2, and then they're going to be laughing all the way to the bank. But fighting in the backfield against Severed Claw, while there's copious amounts of Marauder Horseman support, is a recipe for disaster here for the dinosaurs. So pressure coming in, it's going to be Hellstriders to Slaanesh, and they'll do pretty good against like basic Skink Skirmishers and Chameleons and things like that. Javelin should put some hurt on them, and Dinos are going to be calling in what in the back, Cold One Spear Riders. Not a bad idea. They'll be able to hold back the mobility, but even still, Feral Cold Ones would probably accomplish a pretty similar job for a little bit of a cheaper price point. Now, as far as high ground goes, Chaos pretty much has complete control of this. Horned Ones are being dragged down by sheer attrition, but not before those bad boys do get about 1,400 value, having taken down the Soul of Damnation and done very well for themselves. And now the Lizard's blundering over here. We do see the big Toad. It is going to be using a regrowth on itself, which is not what it wants to be doing. Archaon probably popped that fat Slayer of Kings when I was looking away, and now this land's just getting its bread buttered super hard. So Shredder of Lustria for E-Banker needs to come back over here and protect this bad boy. Otherwise, the Lord of the End Times is going to be feasting on the soul of Toads, going to be eating some exotic cuisine, to say the least. Up on the high ground, Feral Cold One's still fighting away. Chaos does have control over this. Not too much crazy play up there. Really, the action's going to be focused here on the middle as Chaos does drop a Burning Head. Is going to be roasting through the Skink Cohorts, doing a ton of damage and probably breaking them. Actually going through multiple units of Cohorts. Very, very cost-effective here. And now the Shredder of Lustria is going to be heading back over. Ninja attempt on the high ground coming in from Ikeen. So he tried to use the Chaos Warhounds to grab Objective 3, but they were screened back by the Cold One Spear Riders. And now we have the old Pit Fight of the Gods here in the middle objective. The classic duel, the old blob fight, Shield of the Old Ones going down, Statue of Spite, and an ability from the Slan, which is kind of like a Melkoth's Buna type effect, is active. And will the Shredder of Lustria be able to carry this game? That's going to be the question. Chaos still does have some good fighting power here. 16 models on Severed Claw. They actually haven't lost a single model yet, which is absolutely insane. Archaon himself said to get about 2,000 value. And yeah, that Shredder is going to be great here. Mirror Guard are immune to Psychology, though, so they're not going to tear Rout off. And the Severed Claws also ITP, so those guys aren't going to be running. Aspiring Champions, of course, pretty resolute fighters of the Dark Gods. Collins for Chaos, we have the Cold One Spear Riders chilling here. Probably what you'd want to do is just park some this is the perfect play here from E-Banker. You park Saurus Spears on Objective 3, and then pull in these Cold One Spear Riders to help out down here. Granted, there are a fair amount of Halberds. Probably need some Saurus Warriors down here to support the old Shredder. Granted, Shredder of Lustria, it still hits like a truck and is able to kill some Severed Claw models, and it looks like they could be on their deathbed here. Looking at the value so far in the Shredder of Lustria, currently sitting at about 1,500. Archaon, the Lord of the End Times, going to be rocking plot probably closer to 2,000 at 2,200 here as more Saurus Spheres come in. And the Royal Rumble for objective number 2 is going to be commencing. As far as the points go, this game is very, very close. E-Banker is up by a little bit, but the objectives are certainly in flux. High ground, oh, this could be a bit of a thing if the Lizards are able to kind of balk this point away here. We got the Horned Ones, we have some Skink Cohorts, and that would be a huge disaster for Chaos if they ended up losing that objective to just a couple rallying units. It's very easy when you get caught up in the focus of micro and trying to value trade and just get your way back into a game in terms of the objectives, right? To get ninja'd like that, it can happen to anybody. Yeah, Dinos might get this. I suspect Chaos is going to be able to respond with some Hell Scourges. Yeah, so we see the Slaanesh Cavalry. This is probably one of the most commonly used marks of Chaos that you'll see from Warriors of Chaos is the Slaanesh mark for the Hellstriders, right? Having like 1 or 2 of them, just 100 speed rapid response unit that is really, really good against like skirmishers and light units is great. And yeah, they definitely do some good work. Over on the objective, Spheres moving in. Chaos has taken control of the middle objective. As far as the high ground goes, Lizards are getting dangerously close to getting this. Those Hellscourgers need to get up there ASAP. If this one flips, that's going to be very obnoxious because this has the makings of what appears to be a very close game. I feel like it could go either way. We see Chaos with a value lead, right? Setting it about 9,000 to 6.5. But considering the 3 or 4 regrowths that we've seen from this Slan over the course of the game, the value is probably very, very tight right now. If not like just like almost dead even, right? So Shredder's pulling back here. Chaos moving up with the remnants of their horsemen. Archaon trying to push back what appears to be some feral cold ones. And up on the high ground here, we do see the Warriors of Chaos are able to salvage their point, which is a really, really big play here. Yeah, every little point's going to matter. You see the scores like dead even. The value with healing taken into account here in this situation is probably more or less dead even as well. So it's going to get pretty crazy here. Shredder of Lustria on objective 2. Dark Gods have taken control over the objective. Severed Claw and Chaos Warriors showing their resiliency on the fighting point. Archaon, you know, ever the tactician, going to be pulling back from the Shredder of Lustria. Does he have the Crown of Domination? If he does, that's going to be a really nice combo with the Trolls. Yeah, it looks like he does. I did see it in the bottom right of the tooltip there. So Archaon has an item that gives immune to Psychology. So if he fights with these Armored Chaos Trolls against the Shredder of Lustria, that's actually going to be very cost effective, because right now these Trolls are immune to Psychology because of Archaon's item. Really, really cool to see that actually like in play and being effective. And the Shredder, once again, is going to be getting a fat, juicy heal here. That's going to be big. Archaon overextends a little bit into Croxagors, and the 750 weapon strength of the Shredder of Lustria could potentially take him down. Fight or die. Armor of Morcar active. Look at his stats, 174. It's like watching a campaign character here, seeing Archaon in action. High ground objective owned by the Dinos. Definitely could have been stolen by Chaos if they had left those Hell Shredders up there, but rather they pulled them back to do a little bit of swarming back here. High ground objective owned by Chaos. Middle objective is owned by Chaos, and it looks like Chaos does have a double cap right now. So they are going to be accruing a bit of a points lead, 800 to 730. Not that big of a lead for sure. But Archaon is getting smashed by the Shredder of Lustria. This thing is taking no prisoners. Probably up to, yeah, it's almost paid for itself, which is something, Shredder can pay for itself for sure. On the right map against melee-centric factions that don't have good dedicated missiles and cannons and things like that, you can really see the Shredder of Lustria shine. Even on a map like this, like, so let's say you were playing against like Empire here, War Wagons would put good pressure on the Shredder of Lustria, but like with all the trees and the prevalence of like slopes and terrain that make powder weaponry really, really ineffective, like you could probably use the Shredder against like a powder faction on this map. Archaon going to be getting chased away. I would imagine the Lizards will do everything in their power to chase him down, at least detach one of these skink cohorts to go after those bad boys. Middle objective being held by the Warriors of Chaos, the Armored Chaos Trolls and Horsemen, and Chaos Warriors able to fight and push back the last of the Lizards. As far as the high ground point goes, Chaos do have that one under control. Maybe a little bit of housekeeping needs to be done, and right as I say that, it's as if they're watching. You do get the unsummon here on the Marauder Horsemen to the back to try and replenish the tools against the Shredder. And yeah, the Shredder of Lustria, man, it's healing capped, but it's certainly done its job. And Archaon, is he going to be able to rally? There is no way to heal him. Warriors of Chaos would probably instantly shoot up in win rate like 5% if they got access to a Nurgle Sorcerer. Like, not a legendary Nurgle character, but like imagine if you could roll in with like Archaon and like maybe just use him as a combat character and an assassin, and then have like a Nurgle character healing him. Man, that would be crazy. That would open up so many possibilities, like healing Valkia. If they ever buff Kolek, it'd be like, you know, getting Kolek all sauced on the heals. There's a lot of neat stuff, but anyways, Chaos holding on to the 2 points quite valiantly, and they are getting a bit of a lead here, which could start to become very precarious for the Dinos as this game does go on. Is the Shredder of Lustria going to be able to, you know, really control everything? Archaon does rally. Looks like the Lizards didn't have enough to chase him down. There was an attempt from E-Banker. He did call in the Feral Cold Ones to try and chase down Archaon, but it looks like the Lord of the End Times is going to be elusive here, and probably will pull back to the middle. At the very least, you know, he's still got okay HP. You can use him to give immune to Psychology to your units that are fighting nearby, or, you know, have him move in and peel off like Feral Cold Ones. Looks like some Chaos Warhounds are going to be descending from the high ground, and also some Chaos Warriors heading to the point here. It could be a little bit tricky for the Dinos. What you would want to do in this situation as the Lizard player is you'd want to grab the Skink cohort and run in circles around the objective and try and deny the cap for as long as possible against those Chaos Warriors, because they're not going to catch you. They only have 28 speed, but eventually they'll push you off the objective, but you want to mitigate it and be as annoying as possible. Middle point going to be flipping back to the Battletoads, ladies and gentlemen. It is getting there, and this is going to be a very, very tight game. Up on the high ground here, we do see Warriors of Chaos holding it down. Doesn't look like Lizards are making too many plays here. You could honestly send like a Skink cohort up here. Granted, the Zangors still have 61 models, so they might actually win against those units. As far as this point goes, it looks like the Lizards opted to take the fight head on, which is eventually going to give the Warriors of Chaos' point. Chaos Warriors are pretty beast mode fighters. I think Chaos Warriors at 750 are very nice priced, very good good unit for the faction identity, right? And I think like marked Chaos Warriors could probably use a little bit of a cost reduction, like especially the Khorne ones. But yeah, even still, yeah, Khorne really could use a cost reduction on their warriors because like they don't have magic even, right? So their warriors should be very dominant in combat. I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? Mirror Guard fighting it out. It looks like the Dino's going to be maneuvering up to the high ground, so sending up the Shredder of Lustria. And the Horn ones are back, baby. These are the same ones from earlier that certainly did a lot of damage And I don't know if Chaos is going to be able to get this point. They're trying to get their Marauder Horsemen up to get the cap weight. Each of these Horsemen does have 4 capture weight, which is really good. Infantry have 5, monsters typically have 3, single entities typically have 3. But I think that the horny ones are going to be able to make it here and probably maybe shut this down with the Shredder of Lustria arriving. And Chaos is also pushing on the middle. Man, Chaos is relentless here in this battle as we get Armored Chaos Trolls and Mirror Guard able to rout off these Saurus Spears in the middle. More Saurus Warriors are going to be arriving, but this split pushing here. Wow, is Chaos going to flip this point? With good micro here and the Horseman maneuvering. Oh man, if they flip that, this could turn into a triple cap situation here. Dinos, oh my god, they get the cap back at the last second. Look how incredibly close that was. And right as the Battletoad arrives, the Herald of Change, he makes it here. And he is able to salvage that objective. Wow, that would have been a really, really rough one because there is a bit of a points lead for Chaos where they might flip the middle. And yeah, overall, the Horned ones do arrive. They push the Horsemen off, and that's going to be a pretty devastating loss for Chaos. As Chaos is definitely probably down in value now, considering the value's even with regrowth being considered. They have equalized that value gap. But yeah, overall, that healing is going to be pretty fat for the Dinos. Yeah, it's no joke. So Shredder of Lustria is on its way down. We do see objective number 3 being held, and the high ground objective also taken by Chaos, and Lizards do lose objective number 2 as well. Okay, guys, this is going to be tight. So this is almost a triple cap situation. Not quite. We're almost in the ballpark. Shredder of Lustria is going to be coming in. Killing Archaon would be huge. That would actually take away a lot of leadership from the Chaos Army, make it easier to push them off objectives, and also would get rid of the immunopsychology. But I think that Akeen knows this and is going to be using Archaon the Everchosen to waddle away from the Shredder of Lustria and keep his distance. Certainly the Archaon the Ever Tactician. Objective 1 owned by Chaos. Objective 3 pretty well solidified by the Dinos as long as they leave a couple Saurus over there. And now the Dinosaurs are going to be piling into the middle objective with all their capture weight and trying to just break the forces of Chaos back. So currently we're at 1300, and are the Dinos going to start pushing the high ground objective? We don't see anything being sent there yet. No call-ins from this side, and yeah, no pressure whatsoever. Middle objective, Chaos holding it, but not for much longer. Severed Claw still going in the 4th quarter of the game, currently at 2300 value. Absolutely amazing unit. Horny ones moving into the objective, going to be flanking and sandwiching the remnants of the Chaos forces. Granted, there are some Slanesh units here which might enjoy the sandwich, but even still, they're not going to be terror routed, so they'll fight to the bitter end. But the Dinos do get that objective, ladies and gentlemen, and now we got a pretty wild game on our hands. So high ground, is there a little bit of sneaky play? A couple Marauder Horsemen do move in there, going after the Saurus Spears, and some Chaos Warhounds for Desperation capture weight. Not really going to do it, though. Skink Cohorts here will be able to defend them off, and they have full 5 capture weight, and that's one of the reasons why Dinos are pretty good in Dom. Is because of course of the I mean, they have cheap fast capture weight, right? Like a lot of 300 gold units are expendable on different rosters, but in the Dino roster that's not the case. So mass route for Chaos here in the middle, ladies and gentlemen. We'll do a little bit of fast forwarding, and currently, yeah, this is actually a triple cap situation. So the Dinos are going to need to get that high ground objective. We do see Cohorts moving up there. I don't know if the Chaos player is privy to this knowledge. He's still doing a little bit of a split pushing here on the side, whereas what you would want to do in this situation is Helm's Deep that high ground point. Just move everything you have up there, like these Hell Scourges, these Horsemen, these Armored Chaos Trolls, and try and hold, because you really only have to hold for a little bit of time, but rather he's going to be doing some split pushing, which isn't the worst idea in the world. It could work. Hellscourge is going to be engaging against Coldland Spear Riders, which is not going to be great. Coldland Spear Riders will dominate them in combat. Hounds are pushed back by Skink Cohorts, and it does not look like there's going to be anything up to the high ground point. We see Lizards getting there very quickly. Oh my goodness, E-Banker just pushing for it. And Chaos might have been able to, yeah, what could they have called in? If they could have called in their Hounds and Hellscourges, maybe some Warriors a little bit earlier to this high ground point, maybe. But right now, I think the Dinos are probably going to get it. These Cold One, or these Red Crested Skinks, so I guess they're Cold Ones also, but you know, it's all in the ballpark, are going to be able to defend off these Horsemen. High ground objective is going to be taken here by the Dinos, and now the Dinos have a very, very solid triple cap here in this situation. A little bit of split pushing from Chaos here, but the staying power of the Dino fighting forces here probably will be enough to push them back here. So the points are still going, man, and that objective is going to be flipping to the Dinos. Middle objective owned by the Dinos, and so too is the top objective. So no more points going, as we do see the scoreboard going up and up. It's getting really scary. Oh my god, Chaos coming in with a 4th quarter push. A bunch of raggedy Chaos soldiers moving there, but E-Banker is going to pull that one out in the 4th quarter. GG, well played. What a fun game. Lord of the End Times. We got a Dread Saurian. We got a Hell Cannon in there. It was very much a lot of old school stuff, which I think was a great time to see. So yeah, Horn ones at 3,000 value, paying for themselves twice over. Not bad at all. 5,000 value Shredder. Absolute champion. He certainly carried the game. And that, you see, that's what you want. When you pay that much money for a monster, you want it to do well. That's why things like the Rogue Idol and the Iro Titan are just so sad, because they can never get any sort of value like that. But those ones are really cool indeed. GG, great game to both sides. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. If Chaos had maybe found a way to protect their Hell Cannon earlier, I think they could have maybe edged that game out, but In that case, they did not. GG, well played to these champs, and we'll see you guys next time.